progress made on the security sector alone. Whether it's increased territory that came under control of the government in Mogadishu, in the central regions, in the south, the care that was given to the men and women of the Somali security forces, whether it's regular salaries, whether it's medical care, whether it's training or training camps or bases to operate from. There was a medical hospital for the military that was opened, along with the help of the AMISOM forces, the African Union peacekeeping forces. Great strides have been taken, and I think the Somali public, without a doubt, has been very happy with the results of the 100 days, and we are confident that the international community can be assured that this government can take this country to the peace and security that was elusive for the last 20 years.
In Indonesia, the case of a prominent Muslim cleric will resume on Thursday after prosecutors rejected a statement from Abu Bakr Bashir's defense team. His supporters allege, quote, international involvement in the case. Bashir is accused of planning terrorism and funding a paramilitary training camp in Aceh. There are a growing number of people in Mexico who find themselves in need of spiritual comfort because of the country's big drugs problems. And many in the predominantly Catholic nation turn to religious figures from Mexico's indigenous past. AlJazeera's Frank Contreras reports.
Raising prayers to a saint of death. Martin George has built a shrine to her in the living room of his own home. He lights candles and focuses deeply on her skeletal image. Though it may frighten some, for him it brings comfort in times of despair. In Mexico, the many followers of Santa Muerte are widely considered to be drug traffickers or other criminals. Martin George says there are criminals among all religions and cults. He insists most of Santa Muerte's believers are honest people.
They don't ask her to help them commit robberies. They don't ask for help getting drugs. They ask her to help them get ahead in order to have complete lives. And when it's time to die, to leave behind an inheritance for their family members. For us, that's called a saintly death.
A scandal broke out recently when police arrested this Mexico City man, David Romo, a self-appointed bishop in what he called the Church of Santa Muerte. Police allege that Romo posed as a member of the Zetas drug cartel, then kidnapped elderly people for ransom and laundered the money into his own account. Romo says he is innocent, but remains behind bars. Scholars say this image dates back to pre-Hispanic Mesoamerica. Over the centuries, Santa Muerte has held her place among Mexico's most sacred icons. The country's biggest religious institution, the Catholic Church, does not officially recognize her. Still, she's become so popular with so many people that a cottage industry now produces Santa Muerte statues, candles, necklaces, and anything else believers might need to create an altar in her honor.
I'm inside Mexico's famous Sonora market, where you can buy just about anything, from healing herbs to a love potion. But an increasing number of people are coming to this market to buy items like this one, in devotion to the Santa Muerte.
The author of a best-selling book on Santa Muerte says it's no coincidence that an increasing number of people are turning to the death saint, particularly in this difficult time when drug violence appears to be raging out of the Mexican government's control.
People ask her for things the Mexican state should be providing. Those are rights such as housing, justice, employment, and health. And those rights the state should be providing. In that way, you could say Santa Muerte is helping the Mexican state.
And so the cult of the death saint continues to grow, and untold numbers of the faithful cling to the image of this mystical figure, hoping she will help protect them in what are likely to be more difficult times ahead. Frank Contreras, AlJazeera, Mexico City.
You're watching AlJazeera. David Foster with the top stories for you. Rebel fighters in the Libyan town of Ras Lanuf are still battling pro-Gaddafi troops as the unrest continues in the oil-rich North African nation. We are receiving here at AlJazeera reports of airstrikes which have left several dead, including a family trying to escape. In an interview with the French news channel, Libyan leader Colonel Gaddafi's denied reports of hundreds, even thousands of deaths, still blaming al-Qaeda for what's happening. Egypt's Prime Minister Essam Sharaf's appointed a new caretaker cabinet. The country's prosecutors ordered 47 police officers to be detained for burning documents at several state security headquarters. Tunisia's interim Prime Minister Beji Caid Sebsi has unveiled his new cabinet after a spate of resignations. It will be the third such caretaker government since the overthrow of President Ben Ali in January. About 200 Shia protesters have been rallying outside the US Embassy in Bahrain, calling for Washington to stop backing the monarchy there. Shia Muslims have been pushing for more rights in protests directed at the Sunni royal family. Zainab al-Khawaja is one of the protest organizers.
We want America not to get involved. We can overthrow this regime. We can. The people of Bahrain is strong, just like the people of Egypt. All we want is for America not to support the dictatorship in Bahrain, because people here, they're going to have to sacrifice so much more if the Americans decide to support the regime.
Omani state television is reporting that the ruler Sultan Qaboos has reshuffled his cabinet there. Among the posts that have been changed is that of the economy minister. The reshuffle is the latest in a string of concessions aimed at appeasing protesters who want jobs and political reforms. The US Defense Secretary Robert Gates has repeated Washington's apology for the mistaken killing of 9 Afghan boys in a NATO airstrike last week. Gates described the deaths as a setback after arriving in Afghanistan for talks. The US troops are getting ready to begin a phased withdrawal in July. In Côte d'Ivoire, gangs of youths and uniformed police have looted homes belonging to politicians allied to Alassane Ouattara. In the west of the country, rebels claim they've captured the town of Tous-les-Pleurs. Now time here on Al Jazeera for Counting the Cost.
I'm Santa Maria. This is Counting the Cost on Al Jazeera, our weekly look at the world of business and finance. This week, we're hopping in the car. The bold and the beautiful of the automotive industry get eco-friendly at the Geneva Motor Show. We speak to General Motors' European boss. Also, a spring of discontent blossoms in Kyrgyzstan as the country grapples with huge economic debt. And iPad the sequel. Apple unveils version 2 of the tablet computer, but was it upstaged by Steve Jobs' surprise return? So welcome to the show, everyone. And first off the bat, a big thank you to Hazem Seeker for taking over hosting duties last week while I was on assignment. This week, we've decided to leave behind the turmoil of Libya and the wider Middle East and look at some other business news, because it does carry on. And we want to start with